Hello everyone, welcome. This is Call of the Netherdeep, how to run Chapter 4. Christine is feeling a little ill tonight, so she's not going to be joining us, but she also wasn't in most of the chapter, so it kind of makes sense. I am happy to be here. I'm Kelly, I'm your Dungeon Master, and I'm going to walk you through how I ran Chapter 4, and these are my lovely players who are going to tell you how I ran them through Chapter 4 and what I should have done differently, what worked for them and what didn't work for them. You can leave comments in the chat, and we also have a list of comments that were left on YouTube or Discord, Instagram, and Facebook. I don't think anybody left anything on Twitter. I'm not a big Twitter guy yet. I'm working on it, but anyway, excited to be here tonight because we get to talk about this chapter, which I had a lot of problems with it. Overall, I think this book is good. Before anybody gets defensive on the behalf of the Critical Role writers, I still think it's a good book. I think this chapter is weak as hell, and we need to talk about why. But before we get into that and what we would do to change it and what you should look out for if you are running this game, let's introduce the rest of the cast. Let's do a round robin, starting with Robin.
Hi, I am Robin. I'm a little round, but I'm working on it.
Oh my god. I needed that. Thank you.
You're welcome. I needed that for myself, honestly. It's been a rough few days. But yeah, I'm Robin. I use she, her pronouns, and I usually play our lovely barbarian, Kaeko Skaar, who actually I think we started this chapter with her taking that level in barbarian.
We did.
So this chapter was her being a little bit ragey. Yeah.
Nice.
This was an interesting chapter for sure.
Yeah, it really was. But we're gonna get into that in a minute. Pass to Christa.
Hello, I'm Christa. You can use they, them, or she, her pronouns for me. And I play Sabina Moorden, our Lotus Den Halfling, Beastmaster Ranger. There's a lot of words to get to that. And her and her animal companion, Dax.
Nice.
And this is I personally have very much enjoyed this chapter, but only from a personal character growth standpoint.
Well, and that's the thing, right? It's
yeah.
Anyway, we'll get into that.
We'll talk more about it, but that is just my quick 2 cents.
All right, let's pass down to Chris.
Hello, I'm Chris. I normally play Dorlen Wildrock, the hyper not focused no Martificer on this game. I'm a little under the weather today. Got a bit of a cold going on here, so might not be quite that energy. It does take a lot to do that, but I can be found here on Dork Tales and also on Dork Tales. And if you were around,
on Dork Tales?
Oh yeah, on Dork Tales. I forgot about that. If you were at the Capital City Comic Con on Sunday, you might have actually seen me dressed up as Dorlen with pants. I'm looking at you, random.
Charges will be progressing in the Canadian legal system shortly because of the lack of pants.
Well, it's fair that that was mentioned because normally I'm wearing swim shorts when I'm streaming.
And there are photo shoots in process.
Yeah, no, I normally wear swim shorts because it's just too hot. Like that whole getup and everything. Like I'm just like, ooh, especially finding out that it was made out of scuba gear, scuba material.
It looked the best.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I was like, we should get a shot because I have like these red and black. They're in the wash right now, but red and black swim shorts, which kind of would match his aesthetic, and I normally wear those ones. But yeah, at the convention, I did find some pants and was wearing those. There was some debate in the Discord, so I just wanted to clear the air on that.
All right, and Caitlan.
Hello, everyone. I'm Caitlan. I use she, her pronouns, and usually I play Xarria Rainn, the tiefling cleric of the party.
Nice. Okay, so and were you wearing pants this weekend?
I wasn't always wearing pants.
Scandal.
Actually, I don't think I did wear pants because I was wearing a dress and then I was wearing a hakama. Yep.
All right.
Yep.
And the skirt kind. So it's no pants weekend.
Fair enough. No pants. I love it. All right, let's switch to some different backgrounds. There we go. because that's, oh yeah, those are the backgrounds we used last time we did this. Christa's a house on fire. Caitlin's got.
Oh, hell yeah, Skelly Boy in the background.
Skelly
Love
Boy.
it.
Valid. Yeah.
I'm a
Chris-
brick house.
It's true. I can change these at will. But all right, so folks, we're gonna jump right into this. I want to get initial opinions. What do you guys think of chapter 4 overall? Now, and separate like character versus like what is obviously plot. Although if you can't tell that I made it up instead, let me know.
So might be similar feelings to Christa. I'm not exactly sure. I know you had some frustrations with this chapter a bit, though from my point of view, that did not translate into my character experience and my experience with this chapter. I actually had a lot of fun with all of the interpersonal role playing that happened. I know it was definitely a bit drawn out with the going back and forth and everything, but I really enjoyed watching and having these interactions with each other and the other NPCs and watching what everyone else was doing. And I have a feeling that a lot of that was heavily like I'm sure they were kind of like, hey, these are these people, and that you just ran with it. But from my point of view, if I did not know that you were being had some frustrations with it, I would have been like, oh my god, this was so much fun, and really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Enjoyed it so much you punched your mic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got so much cough medicine in me. I'm a little sleepy.
That's totally
So
fine.
I would say my biggest feelings about chapter 4
Mhm.
are a bit confused. And
What
a
are you
bit,
confused
like,
about?
I am confused about why the frick we have got this like vision of like a deep need and like pressure to do this thing, find the Netherdeep fast, and then it's like, oh yeah, have fun in a city for a month doing
Oh, at
a
least
ton
a
of
month.
tasks.
At least a month, because each
At
one of
least
these
a
missions
month.
is a week apart.
God damn it. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
I
kind of
didn't
like
get that.
why we're trying to get to the Netherdeep fast, and why are we doing many different quests for many different groups? Like, I want my fast pass to the Netherdeep.
I
Like,
think there was, I think it might have been last episode that I was like, wait, what are we doing? Was it this person? What?
Mhm.
And it really adds up, right? Like you're like,
Mhm.
why are we here doing this?
Yep.
So here's my okay. So I want to outline real quick the way that this chapter runs, because so spoilers ahead. Obviously, I'm gonna do things to not spoil you all, while still I'm gonna spoil you for stuff that you can't do now because we're beyond that. We've gone too far. We can't go back. Okay. So you get transported to Ank'Harel. Spoiler number 1. Boom. Suddenly you're in Ank'Harel. Things are happening. People are doing things. There are sky ships, and it's really warm. The premise of chapter 4 is that it's supposed to set you up on 3 paths. You're supposed to either join the Cobalt Soul, the Allegiance of Allsight, or the Consortium of the Vermilion Dream. Okay? For those who are tuning in just for the how-to and are not watching the show, we are probably going Cobalt Soul with also some... They like the Allsight better than the Vermilion Dream. Vermilion Dream is basically for jerks. Like it's the evil or selfish route. Okay? Each one of these 3 routes is basically, if you go Cobalt Soul, you're kind of going the good route. If you're going Allegiance of Allsight, you're going the neutral route. And this is my opinion, but because it's I kind of hinted to the players beforehand out of character. I'm like, hey, so theoretically, if you got your hands on some nuclear material, would you use it against your enemies? Would you save it in case your enemies got any, or would you destroy it in hopes that no one else got their hands on it? And that's kind of the good, neutral, selfish, evil kind of parallels you have here. Like, there's some great power in the Netherdeep, and these 3 factions are kind of slowly coming to war about what up. Okay, the problem with that is, though, that it's 3 different branching options that are kind of doing that. Those 3 options is a very Mass Effect type of thing. Do you pick the red button, the blue button, or the green button?
Buttons, I'll press them.
But here is the spoiler for this. Whatever you pick, the rivals pick the opposite, except it's a 2-to-1 opposite. So if you pick Allsight or Allegiant, Allsight or Cobalt Soul, they go the other route. So, but if you pick Vermilion Dream, then they'll pick one of the other two. So it really, they have this thing where they set them up to be friendly, indifferent, or hostile rivals. But if they end up in the Vermilion Dream, which I'm going to say that you guys are leaning more Cobalt Soul, which is the vanilla option. I really was, the thing about prepping this is I was super angsty about this because I was like, I don't want to influence your choices and push you toward any direction. I want you to have fun and to do what you're going to do. But then as we're getting into this, and like you guys were kind of bouncing back and forth between Cobalt Soul and Allsight, I was looking at the Cobalt Soul. The Cobalt Soul has better missions. It has some cooler ones in the end game. You get cooler stuff. I think it was a better fit, and I'm kind of glad that you're kind of leaning that way. But I think most people who play this after coming in from Critical Role's fandom are going to want to join the Cobalt Soul because it's cool. It's the thing that everybody knows in the setting.
I was going to ask, are these 3 factions in Critical Role?
The Cobalt Soul
Yes.
absolutely is.
Yes.
But
The Allegiance of Allsight and the Allegiance of Allsight is very briefly mentioned in Vox Machina. Well, not briefly. They meet up with a researcher from the Allegiance of Allsight to get information for Vox Machina and to get to meet Jamansa Ord, who runs the city, and Spoilies is an ancient brass dragon.
It's literally in like the first page of this chapter.
know.
It's not that spoily.
Okay, 'cause
so I
that
go
was
through that information. I forget about the Vermilion. I think the Vermilion is it's deep in Critical Role lore.
yeah.
They're a secret society, right? So it's
Yeah.
who knows?
Well, because I was gonna say, like, it makes sense adding in like a like you said, they're very different. So it makes sense adding in like a very different aspect, but it kind of feels like they just wanted to get all their stuff in.
Well,
and
picking between the Allegiance of Allsight and the Cobalt Soul, like they're okay. Critters are going to be mad at me for saying that they're the same organization, but compared to the Vermilion Dream, they're the same organization. Like if you had to put them in a police lineup, it would be like me, Chris, and Caitlan in a row, where you'd be like, oh, there's 2 bearded white dudes, and then Caitlan, right? Like very, very vastly different. Obviously, the evil one is Caitlan.
clearly,
And Chris and I, one of us pays our taxes, the other is a content creator on the internet. No.
You'd
But,
be
like-
surprised which one that is.
I hear he's on Dork Tales. But like they're very similar, right? So it seems like a non question beyond the moment that the characters go, oh, well, Aloysia is a bitch. We're not gonna go with her. And I did my damnedest to try to salvage the Vermilion Dream by being like, oh yes, you can totally do what you want with her. Give her to the authorities. We don't care. Like that type of that whole like, yeah, we'd rather work with you. Here's your necklace back. Because pro tip, they don't tell you what to do if they get away with the necklace. So, just wing it. Wing it. I think that what I did for that, just in case anybody's curious, is I decided that because it is a vestige, that the so Xarria was still inside of range of it. I believe it's 1,000 feet of it before it starts to. You have to be more than 1,000 feet away for more than 24 hours, something like that. I just increased the range because it's a vestige. It's an artifact. So when it takes a liking to someone or an attunement to someone, it takes a little bit longer and a little bit harder to break that. So the Vermilion Dream was very much just of the opinion of, well, it's going to be too much work to break this. Maybe we can get these people to work with us. Right? And yeah, it was a little weaker than I would have liked, but what are you going to do in that case, really, right? Like, it is what it is. But the frustrating part about this chapter is you get there, and you have your instance with the rivals. The book says point blank, typically a character is associated with only one faction at a time, but if the characters want to change their allegiances, engage in espionage, or something like that, they can try to join a second faction. Each one of this chapter is broken up into 19 pages of just Ank'Harel, just explaining the city. Like that's a decent sized gazetter for a city. But then you have 6 missions, each of which you have 6 missions under each of those 3 factions. And you can't progress above level 2 in each one unless you join the faction. This is a pain in the ass, and I'm going to tell you why, okay? So if you're going with the Allegiance of Allsight, this is what happens. You have to go pick up the figurine that turns into a giant elephant and stampedes around. Great hook. I couldn't not have you play that one. It's awesome. There's this cool picture of an elephant. Like, it's perfect. I had to. Level 2.
And the jokes about the elephant in the room.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
You know, part 2, search the life dome. Okay, you guys did that. That's kind of a neat one. It's got invisible stalkers. I find invisible stalkers to be kind of like one of the weaker antagonists in a scene because they don't have personality, right? Level 3, you haven't got to yet, but you start having to deal with the fallout of that, and Prolix gets into trouble for his involvement, and you have to help him out.
Oh,
Here's the
We'll still
frustrating...
help him.
That's the thing. The book says you cannot help him unless you are a member of the society. Mind
I
you,
like him.
you like him, and he literally shows up out of nowhere asking for help.
Oh,
There is no reason why you should not be able to do this quest. Okay? Because even then, like, the outline, you guys might still do this one, so I'm not going to give you all the details, but the outline is, he needs you to go check something, but he needs you to check something with someone who doesn't belong to the Allegiance of Allsight, and will let you
So then-
in because of his reputation.
Oh,
Mm.
so then there's
It ha-
no real reason for us not to do it if we are to not be able to do it. What?
Nope!
What?
Yep!
What?
It's not like a members only at
It's-
that point.
Yeah,
What the
you
heck?
have to wear the members only jacket the entire time.
Right?
You all have to wear like the
Flashback.
Matt Mercer
If
vests.
If we wanted to spy on them, we could do it.
Yeah, you could. If you wanted to spy on another organization, you could try.
But
Because the-
but if it's just to help a friend, we're out of luck.
yeah, it's ridiculous, right? Okay, so and then eventually it leads up to you going to the Netherdeep. Spoilers: all of them have you going to the Netherdeep, answering
Oh
some
my
sort
goodness.
of call, right? Okay,
It was
Vermilion.
our Uncle
It's like
Bard
it's in the
Destiny.
title.
Your Uncle Bunker. Yeah, right. Okay, so Vermilion Gambits. Okay, so this is where I start having major problems with these, because unless you decide what your players are going to join for them, or you tell them in advance you have to join one of 3 factions, even by the second level, things are starting to get a little weird in these paths. So assume that you're going to give them the flavor sampler. You're going to give them level 1 and level 2 of all 3. Okay, so level 1 of the Vermilion Dream, you show up, you get told to go find the ghost. The ghost is actually the little girl. Great one shot. Absolutely great. And it doesn't, you can milk it for an entire session, or you can do it for like an hour. And it's great. Then you have a nice little NPC to adopt. Fun fact about this. If you bring her to the first eclipse, the lawful evil blue dragon born bartender will adopt her. And is happy to do so.
Oh.
And is actually not evil
Okay.
about it, which is kind of weird. Makes me kind of think that the evil's a little weird on there. But I don't know, maybe evil likes adoption.
We can.
Okay.
I feel like we could have an entire discussion about that one.
We
I've got
absolutely could.
feels on that.
So level 2 is you kind of rob a casino. Okay. Level 3, which we're not doing, so I'm going to go into this. Okay. Level 3, the characters must steal the elephant back from Allsight.
Oh my god.
Okay. Pay attention to where this elephant is. Okay.
Mhm.
because we're coming back to this in a minute. Okay.
Okay.
Then you have to steal the keys to the Netherdeep. Then you have to go and say hello to somebody in the Netherdeep that's been hinted at in other paths, and then the final bit. So we're gonna swap back now to the Cobalt Soul. Level 1. Go find the Cultist of Zahir. Okay. The Cultist of Zahir is mostly a throwaway. It doesn't really come back. It's a fetch quest. Zahir doesn't really factor in from here for the most part. I think it's just flavor. Okay. Level 2, Half-Baked Scheme. The characters look into, you guys did that. You find a baker who is peddling ruidium weapons, or at least a ruidium weapon. Weird. Okay, cool. We have finally, besides the elephant, introduced ruidium. It took us long enough, but we did it. Level 3, Elephant Uproar. The characters must battle magical elephants, then make their way to the headquarters of the Vermilion Dream. There are now 2 magical glowy elephants, and they rampage around. I cut this out and said that it didn't happen because you got the ones for these Legions of Allsight and defeated it. And if the elephants are going to be rampaging, it's going to be like Dermot's fault or something that it happens. And that is something else. I assumed that you succeeded, so I skipped that. I jumped you straight up to level mission 4, that you must rendezvous with the Legions of Allsight in Kael Morro. Okay?
Right.
Because these goddamn elephants won't stop showing up. And don't get me wrong, I love these elephants, but are you seeing how many of these elephants there are now? Like,
Yeah.
because it was one, and then you're like,
are they doing it like that in case you completely ignore all of them?
maybe
Like if you only go Vermilion Dream. Like if you like, I don't like if you go with Aloysia from Bazazan, and then you're like, yeah, well, let's work with you. We're gonna work with you. I'm not interested in anybody else. I'm only working with you. Then you're not gonna see them any other time.
Yeah, no, I think that this is very pro elephant.
Yeah.
I wonder if this particular party isn't exactly going through it as intended. Like I think there's been a couple of times where we've so far in this game where we've especially like how well we've been getting along with the rivals like has been something that was not really accounted for.
We get real attached to our NPCs. We really like our
so
NPCs.
Well, and which is interesting because like if you look at Critical Role or
sabotaging
like,
evidence for them.
Well, it's
right.
It's very much about the end. Like everyone loves the NPCs from Critical Role. Like
I mean,
maybe not as much as some of the ones from other shows.
Essek is trending on Twitter again this morning. Like that. So you don't know who that is, but you trust me, it's good.
Why?
Yeah,
Is he?
but that's what it means.
I don't know.
Like loving your NPCs and having all these crazy NPCs is in right now. So it's weird that they would write a module not expecting you to love the NPCs.
Well, right, and I mean, I think you kind of have to go in this from like an angle of, oh, the NPCs they're either going to be best friends, like or good interactions like you get in Critical Role, or they're an obstacle like you get in many D&D games. Like a lot of D&D would just treat them as antagonists, right? But they didn't write them hard enough so that they are friends, allies. They don't imply that your characters might ever be able to build relationships with them. Even there's a pre-built love triangle inside of the rivals as written, where everyone wants to bone
Maggie.
God. Yeah, everybody wants to bone Maggie. Everybody's down for the thickness. No, but everybody wants to bone Galsariad, and I'm sorry, he's the least pretty one after Maggie. Like even Dermot is like Galsariad looks like one of the princes from House of the Dragon that looks like Wolf what's his name in a wig. Robin, you sent me that meme earlier.
Oh yeah.
Finn Wolfhard. That's
Mike. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
Finkelford.
Mike, he looks like Mike in a white wig, right? It's anyway, but
It's hilarious.
so there's already a love triangle set up inside of there, and it's expand yourself. Like let your players like play with them and really experiment with them. But Christa, I think you were saying this earlier. I think a lot of people were saying this earlier about how the damn module doesn't make any. Or no, wait, it was Caitlan who was saying that it feels like we were in a rush, right?
No, I didn't.
Who was
say
that?
that.
Who said-
That was
it
me.
It was you, Rob.
That
Robin
was
said-
me.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
everybody. Okay. So
I
Agreed.
think Caitlan and I were agreeing.
okay,
Yes,
so
yeah.
salt shakers. I think this, and I don't know why I said salt shakers. I was thinking in my head about using them. This is how I explain things at a diner. I move salt shakers. I'm like, boop, 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 boop.
I thought you were
Right?
like,
Well, here I
adding-
thought the salt was gonna come. I
Yeah.
was like, all right,
Yeah,
here's the good shit.
Okay,
Like,
here's the
make
salt.
sure I'm paying attention for this.
Okay, the story structure of this entire module doesn't make any damn sense. Okay, Jigao should not be your first step necessarily. What should happen is the characters, taking a look at this from just like a writer standpoint, like as a writer, and as someone who's, writes real stories and role-playing stories, you should have started on the quest to join one of these organizations. That should have been at the beginning. They should have been either recruiting in Jigao or that you should have been already in Ank'Harel. Okay? Wanting to keep you in Jigao, nice and cool. I know that they want to connect you to Elixion and like his connection to the Netherdeep and whatever's going on there. But what it should have been is that you belong to this organization. Ank'Harel has a festival, or Jigao has a festival or something like that, and you spend the first part of the game doing missions. The missions are really broad-ended. You can move the entire Ank'Harel chapter to chapter 1 and just lower the ratings of things, right? Just make it not as difficult, and then be like, cool, here's the deal. You are going on these recruitment missions because you need work, and these are people that are hiring you. Nice. You join the organization, then they go, all right, we have a special mission for you. We're going to send you to go and investigate some weird ruins over there. You go to Bazzoxan, you go to Jigao, somehow you get sucked in to the thing with Elixion. By then, you already are like, oh, cool, I have a motivation for belonging to this organization. But you also can set up the rivals in advance as people as part of another organization that you keep clashing with, and maybe even have to work with for a while before something splits you. Then you start, like, it just feels like it's disjointed. Like the stuff with Elixion should come, it should not be the opening hook. It should be the hook at the end of Act 1 or midway through Act 2. That really gets you. It should be a gradual build, because right now, Robin, you're absolutely right. It feels like we're stepping on the gas and then slamming on the brakes.
Exactly.
I get
And
both of them.
yeah, you go, please.
Okay. Oh, I was just gonna say I get both of those, but I think that the reason that we're so hotly contested between these groups and they all kind of want to recruit us is because we have had some stuff behind our name going into this chapter. If we hadn't had anything, we're just nobodies that they just randomly found. Like who are we? We'd have to be kind of have some merit before, otherwise they'd be like, I don't know, join if you wanna. Kind of
Yeah.
thing, right? Like,
That's fair.
or unless they're in dire need for some reason.
Maybe.
Well, I think I think the answer is kind of between both of those, right? Because like I totally agree. Like they're not going to go after you if you don't have this sort of backing to you. Like you don't have this acclaim,
Mhm.
but they don't actually treat you like you have any acclaim. Like they're making you do fetch quests. It's like, well, no, like sure, have them come out, like have them like do the story in this order, but then have them actually pursue you and say, we want you to join our thing, and don't make us fight to join your organization if you want us.
That is kind of very interesting because they were coming after us with letters and, oh, we wanted you to do this, but then again, like you're saying, it's just another fetch quest. Right.
Yeah.
So I get that. Maybe link them a bit better, make them
And the
stakes a bit
the
higher
ramp up
for
is
them.
super steep too, because you go
Yeah.
from fetch quests to like, hey, welcome to the organization. Here's your membership card. Go fight God.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
What?
I wonder how it would have changed if we were part of different organizations too, and how that would have impacted the relationship with the other party. Like if we already started out as different like in opposing factions. I wonder how much that would have influenced things, because like not knowing that this was going to end up being quite like that. Like we knew that they were rivals, obviously, like set that up with the events at the Jigao, but it was just so lighthearted that I don't know, it kind of felt like there was more of an opportunity to get to know each other and to like figure out who they were and whatnot. Whereas I think that if like knowing that we were working for opposing organizations, I'm not sure how I wonder how that would have played out, at least with the interpersonal relationships with them. And that's been one of my favorite things about this game.
It's so anyway, this chapter is a bit of a nightmare to run, DMs, because guess what, we're technically not done with it. Because when you get to this point in this chapter, then you have to go to the next chapter, because that's where all the stuff about the Netherdeep is. So technically you're still in chapter 4. It's the chapter that never ends. You can't escape as much as you want to.
Chapter never ends.
Yeah, some people
Is the
started
real
playing-
Netherdeep the story all along?
Yeah. The real Netherdeep was the friends we made along the way and then backstabbed. Yeah.
Seems legit.
It is. Anyway, so yeah, it is real complex and real frustrating. But let's jump into some of the questions that were left, and we'll see if we can dive a little deeper into this. What I would say though is, feel free to cut stuff. If people want to join, like if you guys want to join the Allegiance of Allsight, I see no reason why some of you can't join the Allegiance, some of you join the Cobalt Soul. I think that you just have to join one of the two sides. You're either with the Vermilion Dream or not.
Yeah.
And then,
Well, and aren't we like, isn't the whole premise, like when we talked about, we said, what can we join the Cobalt Soul? Isn't like our task going to be to go help the Allegiance of Allsight?
I didn't want to say it, but yeah.
Okay, I thought that was said in game of like, you guys, like here's a note that you're gonna go do that.
Yeah.
I thought he told us that's what we were gonna do.
Yeah, that's what he told you. He told you.
Yeah.
And the note you found in Irvin's locker is actually the minor spoiler that doesn't affect you guys at all. Is the note you get for completing Vermilion Dream Quest 3, I think. Yeah.
Is that stealing the elephants?
Yeah, it's the stealing the elephants one. I think is when you get that. Or there's some. There we go. Found by. Yeah, sorry, pardon me. That's actually the one you get for stealing the elephants in the Cobalt Soul track, but you get it from the people who try to steal the. You get it when you raid the first eclipse. So I shoehorned it in. So I was like, you need to know this info. This makes a lot of sense. You know.
Sure.
Yeah, right. Just do it.
Well, and that I feel like everything we've said so far, and particularly what you've said, Kelly, is like it really comes down to the fact that like this is a module for advanced DMs, and it isn't. Like I know there's a lot of discord right now about the fact of like those of us that are longtime D&D or longtime RPG players is like this concept that homebrew is anything other than officially printed materials. Like I remember when like if you had a home game, that wasn't called homebrew because that's what you were supposed to do. You were supposed to create
D&D.
your own. It's
House
just D&D.
rules.
Yeah, but then you would have house rules, and house rules were homebrew, or you maybe created an item that didn't really exist, so that made sense. But nowadays, like if you're playing it, like your like the game, like Shards of Nirn is considered homebrew.
Yeah, I have to put
like,
the homebrew tag on to lure people in. Come.
But it's like that's just D&D. Like it's. I
actually don't like the term homebrew either. It's just weird, right? It's just you're being creative.
Homebrew when you like when I can't.
Homebrew is when you made a new mechanic.
Yes, homebrew. When you so fully created something, that was homebrew.
I don't know why, but every time I hear the word or read the word homebrew, I just think of like somebody being a DM, like Kelly with a big cauldron in the middle of his house, like just like stirring it.
Yeah.
And I'm just
Essentially.
like,
Oh,
like, I don't know about you, but that's a
I-
comforting image
I
in
bought
my
Kelly a
mind.
thing for
So,
exactly
yeah.
Oh my
this.
god, yes.
Krista bought me a cauldron. It's
Nice.
great.
Yeah,
They're
so
they're at
with
Michael's. They're
homebrew,
oven safe.
just kind of,
What?
just stir the
Amazing.
pot, Kelly. Stir the pot. That's
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 what
where
I
the
do.
good stuff is made.
I'm putting it somewhere so I don't accidentally break it.
Yeah.
Did we just lose Robin?
Yeah,
She's
she's
yeah.
having
She's
some
having
issues,
some
so she'll be
glitch.
right back.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
internet's being weird recently.
But yeah, like we've been saying is that like I feel like the entire point of this module is so that critical role people that have never played before that want to play in the critical role world can have something to work off of, and I feel like this is going to scare them away, like from all angles, because DMs are going to feel like they can't DM because they don't know how to make this work, and players aren't going to want to play because their DM's frazzled. And like I feel like this is kind of, I mean, I'd really love to talk to people that were brand new DMs, brand new
You know
players
what?
that ran or played in this.
So a lot of people watch these videos and leave comments and say like, oh, hey, this really helped me figure stuff out for my game. If you were a brand new DM and you were listening to this video, you made it to chapter 4, go to our Discord or post in the comments on YouTube or something. Let us know what you
Yeah.
thought of this and how freaky this was, and like was it a big deal for you? Was it not? Are we just overthinking it as people who have been running games for a while and are like, oh god, this would have been hell? Because there's so much stuff in Ank'Harel. There's so much stuff in this chapter that you can get up to and do that you could spend 20 to 40 game sessions here at least. You know, like there's an entire arc you could do about.
I was gonna say, which I think, like, if we weren't doing a performative D&D session, or like if we weren't doing this as a like we want flow and we want to make it more performative, I think if you sat down, you're like, we're gonna spend 6 months fucking around in Ank'Harel, like
you could do an entire tournament arc at the fighting pits,
which I wanted to do so bad.
Well,
There's still time. There's still
Yeah.
time.
I was like, oh, there's a bowl of judgment. Oh my god, not another.
See, I
There's
knew
always an
about the
arena.
bowl of
There's always an
judgment. I
arena.
knew.
There's
Yeah.
always
See,
a.
and the
Oh my
thing
god.
is, I would have loved, and this would have been maybe something that we like talked about and figured out if we were gonna actually spend like a long time here, we would have talked about some downtime stuff for our characters, because I know like it's interesting. A couple of things, and Critical Role does this at least once every campaign I've seen, at least once, where they do a downtime episode where they talk about, side scenes.
Mhm.
Maybe just the one player runs a scene with Matt, or maybe he brings in someone else, and they've done this thing. They talk about what they've done in the city but that was like over the course of like months of downtime, technically, and you got to improve and build magic items and stuff.
The
But
Kaeko
until
and
the last
Zenata,
thing,
the Kaeko and Zenata arena montage.
exactly.
Like, the Rocky soundtrack.
If you want to do that right before you go to the Netherdeep, or right before you go to whatever is it beyond the Netherdeep, the super Netherdeep, let me know. We can have a final montage. I think that would be a good place to do it. Is right before the final act.
Yeah, there is something I wanted to do that I haven't been able to squeeze in quite yet, but it's very in character, and
Please, and if you need to do it, let me know before game, and I'll make space for it. Like, just send me a PM, like do that. And DMs, always be willing to let your player, like, tell your players that like you want something to happen in a game, like let me know in advance. Like, not to spoil the surprise, but to help me facilitate it better. I can, if this is like you really want to go and finally, I don't know, what's the term I'm thinking of, to seal the deal with Io, and I need to get Peter Cetera's "Glory of Love" queued up in the background from the Karate Kid soundtrack.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Well, and without giving any spoilers, hey folks, go join the Patreon to understand what I'm talking about. In Strixhaven, it's very light on actual like story stuff,
Mhm.
because it's so open-ended, and so you can do all of these things. And like I have every week been like, hey guys, is there something you want to do this session? How do you feel about it? Traz has been particularly vocal about it and has been very helpful in that way. But everyone else has been like, oh, I'd love to do this, I'd really like to do this part. Like Robin has a little mini story arc about getting stuff that, like, as per rules, she could have done from the very beginning. But instead, we made a little story arc out of it, and it was a lot of fun, and it was a really cool little bit that has nothing to do with the storyline. It doesn't affect the story at all, but it's just cute. And I'm really happy. Like, so battle.
Oh,
Go join the Patreon and watch Strixhaven.
This is really good. Christa, I'm sorry I've provided you almost nothing, but I do show up and do the work on the day.
Well, so that's what I mean, right? And for the most part, like I know, I know if I threw something at you, you would be down. And like there is, I know there's a lot of stuff. Hashtag Swawkward, exactly. And so there's definitely things that like are gonna come up. Like there are stuff that is in your back. Like you've given me a really in-depth backstory. We have had a few things come up. It just means like and really at the end of the day is that like that doesn't bother me if you are fine with what you're getting. But if your players are feeling like they're not getting something out of your game, then say, what do you want from it? And have them tell you. Because it's a collaborative world. You're all building it together. Say what you want.
Yeah. And Christa, I got to tell you right now, I'll tell you the one thing I want. You know what I want. I want him to become disillusioned in a certain person.
I know.
I want the soccer game. I want the soccer game, damn it.
It's gonna fucking happen, don't you worry. It's the
Good.
Babysitters Club roller coaster for those 90s people that were raised as girls. But yes.
I read a couple of them. I didn't really watch
it. It was in it was in one of the books, but it's in the movie.
Oh, okay. I'm out then.
But yes, you will. Okay. Don't worry, you will.
Good. Break my heart. All right, let's answer some questions. Let's see. Let's start with Random Equinox saying, question for both Kelly and the players. What was your favorite mission or quest? And then least favorite.
I really liked the Life Dome quest.
Really?
I thought that was very interesting, and I thought it brought a different aspect to Ank'Harel than we've really kind of seen before. Because it wasn't just we're going to this place, getting this thing, surrounded by all these buildings we've already been to. We come to this like very distinctive, very beautiful. Not that Ank'Harel isn't beautiful. Ank'Harel in general is beautiful, but this very distinctive place. Yeah, this tropical place, and yeah, I really enjoyed that mission. Invisible stalkers are kind of annoying, but honestly, I thought it was a really fun fight regardless, and I like how it all played out.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, and least favorite mission, probably the bakery mission.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
The cultist, the one before it, like go and hunt down the cultist, that was my least favorite because they're so.
That's true. I forgot about that one. So maybe that one.
It was so bad you forgot about it.
So bad. I forgot about it.
Everything good about that you guys found, I threw into the scene in improv. By the way.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, I feel like the vibe was interesting with that one. I didn't feel the vibe as interesting with the bakery. It was more of just like maybe we just played it a different way.
I think it's because you guys just kind of you sent Dorlen to do spy work.
In our defense, none of us sent him.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So
there was no choice in that.
Yeah, the entire thing with the cultist mission, by the way, is that you search his place and there is, let's see, he has a great apartment. Then you have to like bully him. If you break into his house, there's nothing. It's just a nice place. Literally, they give you nothing. So all of that was we went in. I'm like, oh, I didn't expect you to break in. Okay, well, because what they expect you to do is follow him and then get into a carriage chase with him. Follow that man, and then like accost him in public or not. Then the knights show up, and then you might get arrested. Okay,
so we have no proof.
Yeah, but you guys broke into his house, which the second that anybody has, you know, a rogue in a party or an artificer with lockpicks, you should have expected, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was all.
Or
That's
someone
all I
with the
broke.
knock spell.
Yeah.
Or someone with a boot.
Right.
Like Kaeko just kicks the
Yeah.
door. Like it's fine. But like, by the way, anybody who wants to steal anything I did, just steal it. Just steal it. Just credit me at the end. Be like, I got the idea for. Don't credit me publicly. Just in your heart. I'll know. It makes my power grow. Okay. Who else had one that they liked or didn't like?
I also, similar to Caitlan, I think I really liked the life dome one. The girl, the spooky girl was pretty good too. It was
cute.
It was cute, but also it was very, I guess, quick.
Yeah, I felt it was a little anticlimactic. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry to jump in.
No. You kind of took the, like, that's exactly what I was trying to look for. I was just, it was taking my brain a bit to get there, but
Kind of like once you saw what you're up against, you're like, well, I'm not fighting a 15-year-old girl.
Right?
Kill her.
Although
I'll yell at her, but I'm not. Yeah, exactly.
Although if that isn't
like,
set up
knock
for
her
a
out.
future NPC, like I don't know what that is, because that's an adventurer's background story right then and there.
Totally.
Shave Dorlen's head and break his knees.
Oh my god.
You need a Professor X, and I don't think anybody else is
that's
shaving
what
their
you're
head.
going for.
That's
Yeah,
right.
That's true.
Neat thing about the armor Dorlen wears, even if his legs weren't working, he'd be able to walk in it.
Oh, cool.
Really?
Yep.
Huh.
That's good.
It
I was like,
provides.
darn, scratch that
yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Huh. All right. Anybody? Did you also
I guess least
dislike-
favorite is the cultist. The cultist was okay.
raise your hand if the
liked it
cultist
for
was kind of
us.
meh? Me?
I had
I
fun
liked the
with
vibe.
it.
Yeah.
I liked the vibe, but the thing I
Yeah.
didn't like about the cultist one was it kind of felt like a footnote. Like the other one seemed to have like something like, I mean, even with the girl, it was we became invested with her, even though it was kind of anticlimactic. We wanted to make sure that she was taken care of, and that like that wouldn't be a problem. So it was something that like we as a group kind of without talking about it took on to ourselves. But the cultists, like, I don't know, like with the elephant, Bodhi's shop got ruined, so that felt personal to us. With the girl, we wanted to make sure that she was taken care of. With the invisible stalkers in the life dome, like we found out that there might be this other society and that possibly we're targets for something. Like it and with the bakery, we found that ruidium weapon, and like possibly am cursed. Take care of me,
You're
Xarria.
fine.
But ruidium,
great
like it introduces to like a ruidium weapon. So they all it seemed like there was something more that we got out of them. The cultist one, I did enjoy it, like breaking into the place, like finding things, the issues with the snakes and Xarria and like that. But it was kind of like, how does that connect to everything? Does it, other than it's related to one of the betrayer gods? Like even when you were describing the other ones with the elephants, it's I don't know, I just picture those elephants, just like I just picture Bodhi setting up new shops, and the elephants, like it's going to be like the cabbages. Like as you were that's actually exactly what I was thinking every time you mentioned the different things with the elephants. I'm like, oh god, poor Bodhi. But
and just dwarven contractors getting new boats every time. They're in a desert, but they keep buying boats.
Yeah, they keep buying boats.
So because I'm just looking through my notes, and like I have like a full page and a half of notes about the cultist, and most of my notes I have like little references to earlier pages, and this one's just like this big giant section of notes that has nothing to do with anything.
Exactly.
Right? Now, if this was like a cultist that like worked with the Sentinels of Memory and that comes up later and like those links to like that could be cool, but you're right. It's just kind of this little bleh.
Does it? Is there something
So
I
I-
skipped? Let's
I
find
do
out.
like the fact that we, as a party, we're actually like fairly good. And we're fairly law-abiding, so when things happen and Kelly's like, "Ooh, the guards are coming," we're like, "Good, the guards are coming."
Yeah.
Like
know,
we've
it's
done
hilarious.
nothing wrong in this.
I
Like that's I
can't-
think why I
Yeah.
liked the cultist one, because basically it was me and
I can't
Christa, I
A-gab
think it was
you. I
me.
can't just
Yeah,
A-gab
Yeah,
on
me
you.
too.
All guards are
Mhm.
bastards.
yeah,
You know?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's just like
Yeah,
just
we
were like,
followed
we did
him,
nothing
yeah.
wrong. We have nothing wrong. Look at this person; they have poisons like on them.
Those are from my
like-
mother. Wait, no. I'm
So it's-
holding it
it's
for a
funny how
friend.
good we are.
Yes.
God.
Well, and especially like I think the mountainous hussy is what came out of that mission, right? And so
Yeah.
like obvious this is
Mm.
just again like Kelly takes these things like this could be the most unmemorable pointless thing, but it because the NPCs get into it, we all get into it as role players, it becomes so much more. But like as a, and like you said at the beginning, Kelly, you got to separate like how we felt as characters or how we felt about the actual happenings versus what the actual text has. And it's I don't know. It's like getting really into fan fiction about something and then watching the real thing and being like, well, that
Yeah.
was underwhelming.
Well, I worry that people watch last episode and they're like, this got lewd. It's an entire
Yeah.
episode about 3 ways in a bathhouse. And I'm like, that's peak Critical Role, baby.
Yeah.
I like
Like-
that Dorlen now has a tattoo.
Yeah.
I
Right.
didn't imagine him
Yeah.
with a tattoo, but you asked that question. I was like, yeah, you know what? He does now.
It's
when
great.
you-
I love
and-
those moments.
And you
Mhm.
have to look at when you're running this for yourself, don't be afraid to improvise a little because this book is not going to give you enough. This book's main problem is that they rush through these side missions so quick. They're so brief. They give you no description of anything that you're going through. The maps for these are very bare bones. Like if you have the roll 20, it is literally just like a snapshot of the cityscape. And like these little maps like these.
Yeah.
Right? So
Mhm.
the maps are not particularly helpful. They're barely useful for any type of like map combat. There's just the city is too big and there's too many things to do for them to provide it all though. So I feel the writers. Like I really get it that in this chapter they shot themselves in the foot by setting it on Corel because they want something really iconic, but it's too big. Like it's
They
too
needed
big.
to put out another source book, like another Wild Mount.
How boring. Yeah.
But yeah, but just on Corel.
And they could have released it on like a Dungeon Masters Guild or something like that, or like as a
Yeah.
PDF or something like that, and made a ton of money as a supplement. And they still should. So there you go.
Yeah.
My dog's howling at something. I don't know what.
I don't know if it counts as a mission, but us investigating to find Aloysia and all of the fallout of that is my favorite, but
Mm.
mostly just because it became very Sabina centric and I was all
Yeah,
for
no, that
it,
was
so.
that was all character stuff. Damn it, because we're the best part of this module.
Earlier, you were saying that like it would be really frustrating for DMs, and I think you said something along the lines of just tried to make sure that even though it was frustrating and you had some things you want to make sure everyone had fun with it, and I think you really succeeded with that.
Thank you.
Like if you hadn't vocalized your frustrations and talked about them a little bit, like I would have not known and had a blast with it the way that you let us like have our inter-character relationships but still kept us kind of motivated to like and brought up things that were going on. So I actually had a lot of fun with this chapter.
Nice.
Same. I feel the same way. I think I was telling you that yesterday, Kelly, where I was like, yeah, if like the only like stressful part about this chapter was the fact that we knew you were stressed. And like we saw it even when you weren't saying it, we saw it in you. And we felt like we needed to do more. At least that's how I felt.
I'm sorry. I will try to communicate that less. It was mostly just the having to pick a path. And it's that like you have to make a choice that will change the entire direction of play. But there's no
I
difference
gotta-
between two of them. So it's like, it's so
I'm
frustrating.
glad you mentioned things, though. Sorry, I really want to interrupt.
Yes.
I'm glad you
Yeah.
mentioned things and talked to us about it, because it's that communication thing, and like that, like I know, like helped me kind of focus on trying to maybe speed things along a little bit for something else, because it is a collaborative process, and
Totally.
like knowing that you were having some frustrations with
Yeah,
it, it's just like,
I
okay,
wouldn't
we
say
need
don't
to
take
settle on something.
what Christa said and say, no, I'm not going to share more. We're like,
Mhm.
yes, no, thank you for
Absolutely.
sharing
Yeah.
with us,
Okay.
because then that helps. Because then if you're frustrated and you're
Yes.
frustrated with the module and you don't say that, it could come across that you're frustrated at your players, and then we'll be going
And
like,
that did happen
what the
once or
fuck can
twice
we
in
do?
Yeah.
in Rime of the
Mhm.
Frost Maiden. Definitely it happened where I was like,
Yeah.
there's a wall in Rime of the Frost Maiden about 2/3 of the way through where you're just like, why am I
Your fun
running
is
this?
Your fun is just as important as ours.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And in Rime of the
it-
Frost Maiden, your fun just evaporates in chapter 6.
and
or
you take a
7.
lot of
Like, it's-
responsibility. You take a lot of responsibility for ours as being in the driver's seat as the DM,
Yeah.
and which is
That's true.
fantastic. But we want to know so that we can help make it easier on you too. Like and
that's
make
fair.
sure that you have fun
Don't
too,
hide.
'cause-
Don't hide.
Mhm.
Don't hide
No.
more. Don't
But
take
it's
that.
No.
conceal, don't feel.
Oh my
Conceal your
I
face
learned
if
that.
you need to.
You are very pretty, Kelly, but you are not a princess. So
Yeah.
you don't have to conceal anything. You're a queen.
Yes,
No!
bitch!
He's like, I don't know if you're upset or sad.
All right. So, but seriously, like, and we're a non-scripted game. Like, we run, we're the biggest Netherdeep stream now too, and we're the biggest Witchlight stream on YouTube and all this. But we're not
Wait,
scripted.
but what's this script that I have?
Shut up! Put that away. Fire. That's
That's
a
a
Star Trek game.
That's the Star Trek.
We're prepping for Radiant Citadel. That's what it is.
Yee.
So, but that doesn't mean that you can't like talk to your players about stuff. You can talk to them without spoiling it. Like, don't give them like, and tell them, hey, I'm deliberately not going to spoil you, so I'm only going to give you limited information. But if you could be the good guys or the bad guys, which would you prefer? Do you want to open a small bakery or commit war crimes? You know?
Well, and like I was saying, I feel like
You
if
can
you're
do
at a
both.
table,
Yeah.
this
Yeah,
doesn't
create
matter.
muffins of mass destruction.
like the baker.
Oh my gosh.
Exactly.
Muffins of mass
with
destruction.
maggots.
I
Not
love it.
muffins of ass destruction.
Oh, that's
No kidding.
Oh, no. War crimes and evil. There's a difference.
yes.
Oh,
In
Okay.
this, well, if the
Are
evil
we talking
person was
about-
going to adopt a child, yeah. Anyway, Anyway, I was going to
Sorry.
say that, like I said, if you are running this at a table, just let people do all the things. Because
Yeah.
whatever, it doesn't matter. There's no real time.
You got no time
Alexian
limit, as
is
long
going
as
to be
people are
the
having fun.
same as he is, regardless, right? It's
Hello,
paused
I'm still
somewhere.
trapped down here. It's
Exactly. Yeah.
We're just like
Yeah, if you
partying
want
and
them to go
rocking out.
faster, send some dreams or something. I don't know. Get
Yeah.
Just be sure to put on your go watch Sandman and do your dream voice of I'm trapped down here
We need to
Exactly.
watch
With
more
with my
Sandman,
with
Kelly.
my Robert Smith hair.
it's very good.
Yeah, we
Oh
need to
my
watch
God.
more of
Robert
that.
Smith hair. It's really good. Like it's really
It's
really good
really
adaptation.
good.
I watched some background or some interviews with them, and the fact that he actually looks so much more normal than he was supposed to makes me very happy.
Nice.
They
Yeah.
they originally made him like they like painted him white like he looks in the comics and had like the crazy spiked hair and all this stuff. And after all these screen tests, Neil Gaiman was like, he's supposed to be able to walk down a street and no one's supposed to notice him. He can't look like this.
Yeah.
Like, you're a pale dude with frizzy hair anyway.
He's
Just
still like I wish
on
his
a
hair
coat.
was like a tiny bit longer just for my personal aesthetics.
Yeah.
But his face is perfect. Like put a little bit more powder on him maybe, but that's it. That's it. Like he's good. He looks like he walked out of like the late 90s anyway, and that's all that
Yes.
matters. Like 80s, 90s.
Oh, this perfect little 90s. Yeah, it's a little pout. It's perfect.
But his super
Uh,
deep
yeah.
voice. All right.
I
So,
know.
and I wanted to say real quick, my favorite adventure from this, besides the first elephant, because I love the first elephant encounter. It's great. I get to play Volatile Reaction by Kevin MacLeod with, you know, in the background. My favorite thing is upcoming. It is the reason that I was really excited you guys went Cobalt Soul. because it's mission 5 of the Cobalt Soul, the one after next game. Hopefully,
Oh,
maybe not, depending on
nice.
what you do. But I'm eager.
Nice.
Eager. I'm very excited about that. All right, other questions. Let's see. Everyone's Kiyama and a GM's perspective both asked, which is your favorite faction NPC, and what characters do you think fit in each faction? I guess out of you guys. And then what's everybody's favorite NPC? So favorite NPC, faction, or just of the chapter. So I guess let's leave the rivals out of this for now.
Sure.
Okay.
We already know everybody's favorite rivals. Fave faction or fave NPC. I'll go first to start us off. I always love playing Bodhi, but if I got to pick somebody who is native to Ank'Harel, I can't say that it's Prolix, because that accent is really hard to keep up for 2 hours, because I decided to make him German, and I was like, why did I do
love
this? Why? It hurts my lips so much by the end. I think my favorite NPC to play, aside from the doorman at the mountain,
Oh,
you mountain
gosh.
hussy, I think was
Ah.
probably Guillermo the robe fitter.
Oh, yes.
Is
Oh my
he
God.
in the book, or is that someone you made up?
No, there's no okay. This thing about the bathhouse is a paragraph that just says you get extra hit points. I improv that entire
Yes.
thing. Like, that was all just like stuff. I was like,
Okay,
yeah,
Kelly, which NPC is one you didn't make up?
Prolix.
What is your favorite module PC?
favorite module? Okay, fine. Damn. Okay, you go. I'll look.
My favorite's Prolix. I like him very much.
100%.
God, I really did just pick all of my own things like a narcissist.
You did, yes.
I forget
yeah.
the name.
I had to
but,
come back
Very
just
good.
to laugh at that. I'm still trying to look for painkillers. I can't find my painkillers in my house
Oh,
right
no.
What are you looking for?
I-
Are you
What?
looking for ibuprofen?
Yeah.
'Cause the last time I was over, you had them on the coffee table.
Coffee table. All right. BRB.
I really enjoyed the couple that runs the place we're staying at.
Iroin, they're two of my favorites. Iroin and Kalanau.
They're in the book.
Yeah,
They're in the book.
Yes.
All right, there we go. No, but they're the way you've done their relationship, the just kind of the little subtle hints to like their adventuring career like prior, and just they also just seem like really cool and interesting people anyway.
They're really cool. Their backstory is like really briefly defined, but it's really neat. And it's one of those little nuggets that you can really spin off.
Okay, so that's favorite NPCs.
Okay.
What were the other questions?
Mine is them, but also Rorosha and Akil. I love.
What about
Rorosha
Chet?
and Akil.
Oh, yeah.
Chet's one of
Chet
mine.
is very good.
You know Chet's mine. So.
And Shira. Shira was very neat. I definitely.
Shira's
liked her a
cute.
lot,
She's
but,
nice. It's hard not to call her
it was
Shira.
on my
Rorosha and
kitchen
Akil are my
table.
favorites.
Oh, they're on your kitchen. I was right there on a table.
Yeah.
I haven't been to your
my
house in like a week.
favorite
I don't know.
NPC. I know. Prolix is probably my favorite, like, non-Kelly NPC. I love that
Yeah.
accent, so I'm sorry.
so
I
good.
just love talking to him because I'm like, I just love hearing you do that accent. It's
It
so
is a good
I
accent.
want to see
and
the
Prolix
baby.
is fun.
Yes.
Right?
Show me
It's
the
so
child.
It's so
Yes.
good.
Um,
Yeah.
Okay. Caitlan, you said you had a favorite? It was Prolix?
Prolix. Oh, yeah.
Okay, Prolix is
Yep.
everybody's favorite. Okay. That's why you guys kept going to all site. You're like, we don't care about the organizations.
Yep.
We want to hang out with our chubby tiefling buddy.
Well, I mean,
basically,
he
yeah.
took us up the
Question-
first night that we were there.
Question
He
is
gave
awesome
us
too, but
booze.
Prolix, I think he like just invited a bunch of random strangers who
Yeah.
doesn't
That
always
is in the
get
module,
along
by the
with
way.
some of them, obviously. And Prolix just seems like a nice person. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty. I
Well,
like
we
playing
even
doesn't
said
Elo's
that
deserve
in
to have
our-
to put
in
up
our-
with Dorlen.
in our like messaging discussions about like what we wanted to join, and I really wanted to join Cobalt Soul, but everyone else was like, well, I want to join Allsight because Prolix is amazing. And I was like, we can be friends with Prolix and join another faction, guys. And everyone, oh yeah.
Look at him.
Yeah.
Look
that's-
at his
that's
chubby
basically-
face.
Oh,
He's so cute.
Oh my gosh.
Love
He's
him.
so squinty.
Amazing.
Chaotic evil. What?
Wow.
All right. On the count of 3, go in a circle. Tell me which organization your character should actually be in, and which.
Wait, on the count of
which-
3 or in a circle?
Let's go.
Yeah.
So let's do it in a circle, but also say what organization you should be in.
Okay.
All right. Ready? Caitlan, go.
Oh, Xarria Consortium. No, I'm kidding. Probably Cobalt Soul. Maybe
Soul?
Consortium though, actually, if she was on her own. And myself probably Legions of Allsight because archaeology or something. I
Because
still, to this day, I'm like, what? But what's the difference?
But
Yeah.
one does kung fu.
Yeah, okay, not the kung fu. So yeah,
Okay.
Legions of Allsight would be mine.
All right.
Personally.
Krista.
Sabina, probably Consortium, honestly, but wants to be in Cobalt Soul. And I would probably be Allegiance, probably.
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say so. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What about Robin?
Oh god, I don't know. Kaeko? Not none of the above. She wants to be the Skaar Bears.
I was gonna
That's
say,
fair.
what's Zenata in?
Zenata's
Yeah.
tied to the Skaar Bears. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Kaeko would be Skaar Bears, and Robin probably Allsight.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, it depends. Our Cobalt Souls are more like library research based, right?
Yeah, so the all sites are basically like going out and like rebuilding like pre calamity knowledge, and the Library of the Cobalt Soul is all about fighting propaganda. And oh damn, yeah, I'd go Cobalt Soul in real life too.
Yeah, probably Cobalt Soul.
Yeah, because I get angry. And Chris.
Oh, this is hard. This is quite hard. I really like both of them a lot. And that's actually kind of one of the reasons why, like, a lot of times I'm like, oh, like I could go either way. Like between the two of them, like they are quite similar. But I think if with your example about nuclear material and weapons that you brought up earlier, I'm guessing that, correct me if I'm wrong, Cobalt Soul is destroying the weapons.
They might
And
be. They might be.
Allegiance-
Allegiance is rainy day.
Yeah. So with both those things in mind, I'm gonna have to say Dorlen Cobalt Soul. Or no, wait. Dorlen Allegiance, me Cobalt Soul.
Fair.
With those two things in mind.
All right. Let's
But
feels
it's
like-
really close.
Okay. Favorite mission quest, least favorite. Boop. So Trezelta asked, knowing what you do about the chapter, what changes would you make to help the chapter run more smoothly? I kind of did them already. Like, I feel like I cut and pasted, I moved stuff, I deleted things, I tied things together. I decided there were way too many elephants. So I cut that down. But here is my big problem with this, okay? There's one thing that I want every dungeon master to keep in mind if they're running this. Because if your players are doing this, your players are going through these missions, the rivals are too. So you have to read all the paths, and once you know, this is where it gets a little stressful. Once you know what your players are doing, so you guys say, go Vermilion Dream, okay? We'll say that. Well, that means that the rivals are making friends with Prolix. The rivals are getting attacked in the Life Dome. The rivals are going and trying to like acquire these items and do these things, which means you have to know that's moving in the background. So, and particularly because the damn elephant the elephant thing, it becomes like a 3-card Monty game where you're like, who
Well,
has the
where's the
damn elephants?
elephant?
Where's the elephant? Where's the elephant? Who has the elephant? How many elephants does Maggie have? Like 6
All of
elephants.
them.
And then Ayo's got an
Particular.
elephant on a javelin just going, what? And then
2 or 3 at least.
Oh
It's
my
like- it's like-
god, that
it's
would
like-
be great.
right? It would be
That's
great. It's like
awesome.
Pokemon. I
You need
choose
like
you,
character
giant
art with an
fucking
elephant for
elephant.
everyone somewhere.
You could use the catapult spell on the elephant figurine.
You totally
Oh
could.
my god.
Yes, correct.
Rail elephant.
Royal elephant. I mean,
my
if you're
God.
brave.
Elephant railgun, the peasant railgun, but with an elephant.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
That's so good. A peasant railgun is a long story. We'll tell you some other time. Random.
Just Google peasant railgun, you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
hilarious.
object interaction are free, so you don't actually need peasants. You can do that as a party.
Well, but the idea is I think you
Hell
need a
yeah.
certain number
I
of
guess that's
them.
true.
Yeah.
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 There's so,
Well, you just use the
someone has
rivals
done
and
the
you have enough.
physics. There you go. Yeah, someone did the physics on how many you needed exactly. So
Of course they did.
anyway,
because
go look
this
up the
game is
peasant
for
railgun. Physics behind
nerds.
it. It is. It's so good. I
Nerds.
love stuff like that.
Okay. Random Equinox, I can answer his question super easy. Question for Dork Tales. Did you ever consider giving the players, for example, a non-Cobalt Soul mission, even if they joined the Cobalt Soul based on how interesting it was? Yeah, why do you think I gave him the ghost with the kid? That I was like, I need this kid mission. Because kids with psychic powers, I also really like those kind of missions because the whole point of it is she has uncontrollable magic powers and it's causing trouble. In baseline D&D mechanics, that does not happen.
Yeah.
Like, because you are trained to use your spells and you use them by will. And I love it when games, especially published games, throw a wrench in the works and say, yeah, but she can't control it.
Yeah.
Because every person who plays D&D that is super like very much like the rules say this, and you're like, well, actually the rules in this book say that it doesn't matter. The rules say screw what you think.
She's basically just a wild magic sorcerer that
Yeah.
like can't control her surges. Like,
And it's like when we first started, we had some people on Instagram that were complaining about Robin's art for Kaeko. It's like, oh, Goliaths don't have hair. It's like, it says in Critical Role they do. They have hair.
Yeah.
And they're,
Yeah.
oh, if you want, Critical Role isn't real D&D. We're running a Critical Role module, you turd.
published
you
by
realize that-
Wizards of the Coast. Like,
Yeah, you realize
Yeah.
there's like different universes,
Yeah.
right?
No,
Like,
there is
what
only
do you think the
Ravnica.
freaking astral plane is like.
Yeah.
It connects different planes and different
Planes.
universes. You nutwad.
Yeah, there are too many Yuan-Ti on the astral plane, though.
Yeah. You definitely
many.
need rules and
Makes
everything,
them
but
spin.
like just being that nitpicky about the little, oh my god, they don't look like that. Like they don't have
And-
hair. They can't
do
do this
in my
flavorful
universe.
thing. It's
And that's
dragon-
one of the that's one of the
it's not
great
fun for
things about
anyone.
like yeah, and that's one of the great things about games like this and some of the other people I think that have game doing this is like, hey, these are the mechanics. But what if like
Fun?
this was something the character couldn't control, or what if like we got rid of the thematic aspect of it and redescribed like just the fluff of it as this.
Yeah.
Like and I had a character in one game, I think I mentioned it before, Oath of Conquest Paladin. It was a dragon that had been like punished and turned into a human, and like so all those fear effects and the other things, like everything was fluffed to be like dragon-ish abilities coming back out. And like redid that, and like that's one of the great things with like this kind of a game. You can use your imagination.
Yeah.
And with like
Imagination.
these modules, we stick a little bit more to rules, but like for things like Kelly's homebrew games, I'm playing a completely homebrewed like race of Genasi. Kelly's made like a bunch of feats and stuff that we're playtesting, and it's like it's really cool that you can like take ideas and then just expand and add them to a world based on your players' like wants and needs. If they're not getting something from like a feat that are in the book, it's great that you can potentially add something to that.
And like in Reign of Emery's, like Kat's character was like, oh, you have mecha in this world. Like you have magic armor. I'm like, yeah, we do. Well, I want some. I'm like, well, you wouldn't have the... fine, I'll make rules for Mecha. So I had to make rules for Mecha. And damned if she didn't use them as much as she could.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. She
At a
did.
girl, cat. At a girl.
Yep.
I gotta share those soon.
Yes.
They're gross.
I like
They're
They're
tearing them
pretty
apart.
gross.
What's that? Yeah, you
That's
tore
my
the
bare-
hell
I like
out of them.
tearing them apart with my bare hands.
The hard thing was making them tough, but not so tough that Caitlin's character couldn't literally chew through them with his teeth. Like
right?
Especially in Tal
like,
Dragon
things off
form.
Tal Dragon. And that was just, oh, well,
Whoa.
technically polymorph doesn't do that. I'm like, screw it, it was a wild magic surge. I don't care. You rolled
Sure.
dragon twice. Time for more dragon.
I guess
and
more
I-
dragon.
I feel like a good example of like fluff over versus rules was so again, Strixhaven thing without giving it away. Kelly wanted some flavor for a spell, and he wanted Firebolt as eye lasers, essentially.
I'm playing Superman. Come on. It's there's the spoiler.
The spoiler is that he's Superman. But he wanted to shoot eye lasers. And so we were like, oh, well, Firebolt is a spell as a cantrip that he gets. But I was like, okay, well, if for some reason you get restrained and gagged, you can't use your eye beams.
Mhm.
Because, like, yes, flavor wise, it's just an eye beam, but the spell still requires these components,
Yeah.
which can't be overcome, blah, blah, blah. And Kelly was like, yeah, that's fine.
That's fine.
So, exactly.
Put a
So I feel
blindfold
like-
over me made of jade powder or something. Like, ooh.
Sure. Exactly. Like there's plenty of things that you can do where you can provide the fluff but still make it work. Like a friend of mine actually it was Bryn in a home game wanted a broom, but I was like, you're first level, I can't give you a flying broom. I wanted a flying broom because she wanted to play a witch. And I was like, I can't give you a flying broom, this insanely expensive item for first level. I just can't. So we made it her familiar and gave it really low like bird stats. And I was like, sure, you have a broom. Like,
Cute.
so you can make fluff work, rules is written.
Mhm.
Just
Yeah.
have fun with it.
Well,
Have
I
fun.
mean, like Dax is a good
Yeah.
example of that.
Yeah.
Dax
Oh,
is a
yeah.
moorbounder, but it uses the rules for what, Beast of the Land?
Exactly.
And in our Discord, we've had a lot of people asking questions of like, how did you do this or what should I do? And a lot of people a lot of DMs, particularly new DMs, get really hung up on the inflexibility of a module because it's all printed, right? You're running off a page, and it's really difficult. In one, I'm not going to say who it was because I forget. I think I remember who it was, but I'm not going to say for sure. On the way to Bazzoxan, the characters managed to domesticate a bunch of the razor-barbed moorbounders and basically became a motorcycle gang and had no reason to go to Bazzoxan, and they were able to
What?
skip.
Oh my
They were still going to Bazzoxan, but they
What?
were skipping all of the bonus things because they had the barbed moorbounders as mounts.
Oh
And
my
they just-
God.
And
Why
they're
didn't
like,
we think of that?
Right?
they're like-
Why did we
Back
not do
to it.
this?
Man,
Well-
maxing it out there. I love
and they're
it.
like, what do I
Listen.
do? They're bypassing all of the missions. And I'm like, well, for one, let them. Like, they're not going to, look, when they get transported out of Bazzoxan, they're not going to take the moorbounders with them. Like, it's that true.
Yeah.
But also, the spells that they use, the things they use, shouldn't have lasted that long. Like, I think they used, like, Charm Animal or something like they used something that gave the charm effect. And I'm like,
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
well,
Oh,
that
which is
lasts
what I
like an,
did.
yeah. It lasts like
Yeah.
an hour, whatever. But maybe they keep feeding them. Maybe they keep treating them well. Maybe they got a bunch of nat 20s on their animal handling. That's fine.
Yep.
The moorbounders will take you to Bazzoxan. Then they'll be like, city, no. And will be just unwilling to go into the city. They'll
Mhm.
hang out outside. You can come out and play with them whenever you want. But, like, have fun with it. Like, the plot will still go the way you need it to go. And if not, maybe that's not the plot that should be on your table. You know, if your players don't want it. Or you could just
Yeah.
talk to your players.
Yeah, be like, hey guys, this is really cool what you've done, but you're skipping a bunch of stuff. Would you like to? What can I do to reroute this? Because you guys have done you've broken the game. You've glitched outside the like playable area.
You're in the back rooms with the moorbounders.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, there's a really good interview with, I think it's Brendan Lee. Yeah, it's Brendan Lee Mulligan, who says the first time he ran a module after like just doing his own stories for 10 years, he ran a module that starts with like you're supposed to go to this wedding of this like dwarven princess and some guy, dwarven king from somewhere else. But it's in the module that like she's not happy about it. And so all of their players were like, "Oh, wait, you're not happy, but let's go then. Like, you don't need to marry this guy. You could just come with us. We'll get out of here," which is nothing to do with the module. You're supposed to help them with something. And so he threw out the module and said, "I guess we're on the run from the Dwarven kingdoms." And that was the campaign.
But that sounds
And
like such a
sometimes you
great
gotta do
game, though.
that.
It's
That sounds
Exactly.
like such a great game. And
Yes.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
it might not be
I have
might not be what you were expecting, but like just try and be a little bit adaptable and communicate.
And
with people.
actually, Christy, you told me that story before, and that's actually spun off. I have 4 or 5 homebrew campaigns in development in the back of my head, and one of them is literally the argument to that campaign.
Right?
Where you are a contingent of dwarves who have to go rescue the bride or groom, depending on the marrying player's preference.
Yes, exactly.
From some Duragar and then trouble brews. I love
That's
it. I
hilarious.
love it.
Yeah.
Nice.
And
Very
then it's
good.
oh
Yeah, just
god,
give your
that's what the
players
point of the
what they
module. It's so gay. It's so good. It's so good. It's such a good story. It's so cute and self-contained, and everyone has to wear fake beards, and it's gonna be great. I'll save it for Dwarfsember.
Oh my
Dwarfsember.
goodness.
Oh my god.
Or
That's
Dwarch?
great.
Dwarf.
Dwebuary.
No.
February.
Dwaypool.
Dwaypool.
Moon.
Oh, whoa.
August.
Oh,
I
it's
know, we're all-
Dwaypool.
It's
I
Dwaypool.
know.
We'll just-
August.
All right. Last question that we have up here. We have a question that came on. I forget where it came from, but it's from Eric. If the group didn't meet Prolix and Bazzoxan, how else would you introduce the allegiance of Allsight? And that's a really good one. I want to turn that over the table. Where do you think would be a really good way to introduce him as like? I guess it depends what happened to the jewel. Did Aloysia get the jewel? Did you have a negative encounter with her? He could show up and be like, "Yes, I heard that you." I'm assuming that he's German in your game too, but
Of course.
of course, it's
Of
in the
course.
it's.
Yes.
I want to find out how many other games made him German because I made him German. I just realized the power that I have as a dungeon master.
If Felix is German in your game, please let us know.
Yes,
Please,
please.
Yeah.
please.
I will.
Please.
I will send you a sticker or a video game or something if he's
Yes.
German and you prove it.
Now you're buying people with video games.
I will. It's just like he's just like Bratwurst Liechtenstein or something.
Schnitzel.
Close enough.
It's
We'll send you some Netherdeep stickers. Yeah.
actually speaking of that.
Yeah, you have a
the,
bunch of Valis ones.
Valis, wake up!
I don't like this.
Oh man. We have the Call of the Netherdeep D20, the Dork Tales logo for Call of the Netherdeep, which actually is coincidentally right beneath me right now on the screen. So that version is on the TeePublic store right now, and so is the Spelljammer one that our graphic designer Michael Ilott made. They're fantastic.
I think I got a T-shirt with the Spelljammer one because I think it looks
Yeah,
really cool.
and I
It's
got
like
one with the
blue.
Netherdeep because I have a new outfit to wear next week, and I want to wear that with it.
I need you to put a design up on there, mostly because I just want the hoodie of it.
I can do that.
I really need you to put it up there. I
Do
sent
we-
it to you. I need to.
Do we
I think
own
Chris might want one too.
it? Do we own
I
it?
created it. I created the design.
Okay. Okay.
Oh,
Then-
which
then
one
yeah.
is that?
It might be a Furbomination.
Oh
my God.
I'm sorry. I'm a Gregorian. I can't abide by
There's
that.
also
but
a
Jacob
Greg
might want
logo.
one.
There's a Greg thing that does
Oh
exist
my
with Greg's
goodness.
quote in it.
Orthodox Gregorian.
So let's hop back over to things that people
Yes.
remember.
Yes. Hey,
Is that-
everyone! Do you have any idea how much Furby shit I get sent on a daily fucking basis? You
I'm
don't
sure.
understand. My life
don't.
and my algorithm is ruined. I don't have my sticker. I have a Furby sticker that says "Eat God." Oh.
Go watch Krista's Powered by the Apocalypse run over on our YouTube if you're
No,
curious.
don't let
for-
it. Don't let it die.
You can't let it
Just
die.
and then let
It's
it
a
die.
Furby. You can't let it die.
I-
Dev
you
never
can't.
dies.
That's because
True. They never
when they die-
forget.
It's the
Jacob
Mitchell versus the
found
machine.
one at the fucking con.
Okay.
Anyway,
So I would have Prolix approach the players along with either, depending on how they come back, he could have learned about the gem. He could have had an encounter with them through one of the other missions. The Allegiance of Allsight is the same with Question. Like, it's not hard to look for them. Also, to approach them in a bar. And that's always the easy one, is like, excuse me, are you adventurers? I believe you look familiar. I saw you in the bar at Bazuzan not too long ago. Oh, strange seeing you here. I was too shy to say hello, but I was wondering, I saw that you were doing work back in Bazuzan. And, well, if you need some work, I noticed that your clothes are a little threadbare and your purse is a little light. I'll buy this round if I can have a business proposition. Right, something like that. Very easy.
Yeah.
Very, very easy. Because the characters have to eat and drink somewhere. They can't just like.
Mhm.
I guess they could just eat and drink at market stands. But then the story goes like this. Which. You were just in Bazuzan, right? I recognize you. Here, let me buy this round of kebabs and we can talk for a moment.
Kebab.
Oh,
Fixed.
can I
Sold.
just please?
I'm sold.
Can I just please give an applaud for your food tent court
Oh,
thing
yeah.
I was so hungry after that.
in
The
in
food
that
pavilion or
episode after
something?
the
Oh.
pavilion. Yeah, so good.
I'm a
The-
very food motivated person, and I got
Mhm.
very, very hungry there.
The
Yep.
trick is
Like,
to
I-
look up
the
random
way to my
food,
heart is
food
through
generator.
my stomach. And,
Let's do it right now. So
oh,
DMs
no. Oh,
random food. So food generator D&D. So have this up in the background. Chaotic Shiny has a meal generator that you can use, and then there's fantasy food names on
Chaotic
fantasy.
shiny.
Chaotic Shiny. So they have one right now so that you can do. So you guys want some steamed rice noodles with pili nut, rutabaga, and hickory with a salad of steamed Indian pea and some sliced snow peas and pears. It's a nice little dish. So have something like this on the back burner. You can also go to fantasynamegenerators.com. They have fantasy food names. So for example, have you had thermal cooked cave silver fox? Because I'm looking
That
at
just
one
sounds
in
like
the
there's a
bottom
lot
corner.
going on.
Yeah.
Oh
Well,
my
what
gosh.
what about Polanto buns? You guys have not had Polanto buns? Oh man, it's like this bean paste that they mix with like vanilla bean, so it's like double bean power, but like two different kinds of bean. But it's also like highly caffeinated inside of the sweet roll. Oh man, just make shit up.
when's our break? I feel like I need to go grab something to eat.
Well, after you have the Griffin Palova or the Griffin Pud, Pood? I don't know.
Oof.
What about Timeless Apple and Lavender Pood? I don't know what Pood is. I'm gonna have to Google this, please. You know, what is P
Apple
How do you
and
spell
lavender
it?
sounds
How do you
good.
spell it?
PUD? PUD food?
What does
PUD?
pood mean?
Like,
Planned
Oh, it's
urban
just
short for
pudding.
pudding?
It's just short for pudding.
Oh,
just
it's
short.
just pud.
Oh,
So it's Griffin Pud.
Griffin
Smoked
pudding.
Ew,
infernal
that's
core.
less.
I was gonna say, is that kind of like blood pudding, maybe?
Tenderized
Ooh.
giant spider.
Ooh.
I don't know if they'd
Spiders.
have much like meat.
Well, once you
on them.
debone them, not really.
A giant
Yeah.
spider?
Because it's Halloween season where everything has bones when you buy it at the
Oh my god, I didn't get it. I was like, they don't.
I
have
have
them, but
over
I see
there,
what
like
you
on
mean.
display on my bookcase. I have an octopus skeleton, and it's one of my favorite pieces
Oh,
of plastic
yes.
because it's
I,
like
I actually really enjoy seeing those, like going
Yep.
to like spirit and just being like, haha.
nice. So folks, what I gotta say though is when you're going through this chapter, take lots of notes, skim the city, bookmark it, tab it, like keep the parts of the city open because your players are going to be improving this a lot. You're going to have to make stuff up on the fly. However, if you have specific things like knowing that the characters, well, Sabina not necessarily, but Christa definitely want like a lewd bathhouse episode, have some stuff prepared. I googled all sorts of stuff about bathhouses, I used a lot of stuff from my history degree in there, my knowledge of like bathhouses in Japan and like things like that. Like be open to improvising, and in places like this, be like, all right, so this is one of the best techniques that most DMs never use. Okay, you ready? It goes like this. All right, I need a location. Give me a location real quick, and we'll start this off.
A coliseum.
Okay. You enter the Coliseum. You can hear the roar of the crowd. Now, when you look around, Chris, what is it made of? Is it like a wood Coliseum? Is it like marble columns? Like, what are you picturing?
Marble.
Marble? So this is like a Roman style Coliseum or like an Etruscan style? How many people can fit in this thing, Christa? Like, how loud is the noise around you?
Oh, it is absolutely packed, like 10,000 people.
10,000 people. And this is a city. This is a city of like 50,000. So 1 out of every 5 people are people from outside or in here, which means that if this is a mostly human city, Robin, is it a mix of people here, or is it still mostly human inside of here?
I think there's a mix. There's definitely a mixed crowd. Maybe it's mostly human, but I'm sure there's like 60% human, 40% others.
And here's the moment. So we've already established the players have had agency in choosing what the scene looks like. Everybody seems okay with it. If anybody wanted to, they could bump in and be like, well, actually, I see some wood, kind of this. Like, yeah, okay. But if you're worried, because there's so much worry in Dungeons and Dragons about losing control of the narrative, right? And so right now, it's a huge stadium. There's 10,000 people here. Oh, God, that's a huge mob combat if I want to run it.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Well,
Chris.
like of the 40% that weren't human, like the majority of those are obviously the Goliaths from the nearby mountains who want to take part in this sport.
That's true. But here's where you can claw it back. You turn to Caitlan and you say, Caitlan, okay, so this is a really mixed group of people. And as Chris said, a lot of them are Goliaths. However, this is, as we discussed before you came in here, these are the blood sport days. And the days where all sorts of monsters are introduced into the sands of the arena, right? Like down there, you can hear the roar of, griffins, let's say, or manticores. You could even ask the players, like, what monsters do you think they're fighting right now as you enter? It doesn't even have to be a big one, but it has to be like, what monsters right now? Like, what are they fighting right now that you see? But then if you want to take some of the control of the narrative back, you can easily slide in there, or you can make one of your players make a choice that decides the narrative, like, so Caitlan, right now looking down at the sand, you see there are 3 manticores on the sand that are roaring defiantly. Who are the people that are being torn apart? Looking around the arena, what creatures are they tearing apart? Is it humans? Or is it some of the subjugated races? Is it like, what is the deal?
Yeah, you see a
here?
lot of tieflings around there.
Boom! You have an entire plot line in 1 second. In 1 second, right? And then you can even change it up. If you're like, ooh, I don't really want to use tieflings like that, but then you can say that, okay, maybe there are a couple tieflings down there. Maybe the rest are humans that have been dressed up like tieflings to be torn apart for the crowd's enjoyment.
Oof.
Because then you're victimizing tieflings even more, but maybe you just don't have some, so you make some. And the manticores knock the horns off their head and then kill them, right? You can have so much fun with this, and then already, like, the players are salivating because they got to describe some of the scene, and it's so much better because, I don't know about y'all, I'm neurodivergent, I have ADHD. Sometimes when people are describing scenes for me, I'm like, did I remember to...
Yeah.
Did I?
Do I look like that on Twitch right now? Ooh, okay, gotta adjust.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, shit, I missed the...
I need to take a
missed the
selfie.
description.
Hold on.
Yeah, or you're standing here and all of a sudden your eyes just shift out and you're not really there anymore.
There. Yep.
Right? And so
I'm pretty sure on stream a couple of times.
Stores.
Yeah, I think I've said a couple times on stream. So I just fully dissociated the last 45 seconds. What did you say?
it happens. It happens, especially because we're not physically in person.
Yes, it's
Right?
harder.
So it is a little easier because it's really easy to open a side window and be like, "Hi, Grandma. Hope you're having a good day" on Facebook.
Or
right?
you've got the chat up, right? Or
And I like interacting with the chat. Like,
Yes.
I
Yeah,
think
so
that's
long
one
as
of
you
the
can
great
stay in
things
character,
to
I think
do.
that's great.
Mhm.
I think it's
Yeah.
great so long as you can multitask. But
Yeah, some days it's easier than others. When having a rough day,
Mhm.
sometimes you're like, "Oh yeah, the chat's doing well." Robin, what?
Yeah,
Mhm.
Oops.
exactly.
Oops.
but feel free to ask the players, and this includes on Corel, because here's the secret. As the dungeon master, I'm betting that 50% of dungeon masters who are critters, who are Critical Role fans, are not the biggest Critical Role fan in their group. I bet I think it's the odds are probably even better than that. They're not, which means that there's someone in your group who obsessively knows the lore better than you.
Mm.
Let them do the
Mm.
hard work for you. Hey, so Chris, you really love Critical Role. You remember that episode with the Steamworks bathhouse? What was your favorite part about that? What was the description? Can you remember how Matt described it? Can you start me off just because I know you'll remember it better than me?
Hey, Robin, I could use a little help here.
Yeah,
as
so
our,
but
Critical
like
Role expert.
use your players as tools. Like pull them into it, give them enough power that they feel like they're participating and that they're having fun.
All I remember about it was really steamy.
Ooh.
Oh.
And the other thing is, I've gotten a lot of comments recently, very complimentary ones about my character voices, and people are like, "Oh, I can't do character voices." Yes, you can. Doing a character voice does not have to mean I'm an old man and I'm here to talk to you. Don't listen to him. He's not an old man. He's actually a demon. You know, you don't have to, dude, he's totally got my dog, right? You don't have to like have a bunch of character voices. It can literally be, you're probably playing at a table, body language. So if you're playing like a seductive rogue, you can do the exact same voice and do one of these and say, "Hi, how's it going? I'm a seductive rogue." Or you can be like, "I'm a seductive rogue. I'm a seductive rogue." Like just changing your body position at the table or changing the meter of your voice. Like,
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
watch this. Christa. "Hey, beautiful, how's it going?" "Hey, beautiful, how's it going?" Exact same pitch and tone, but changing the way you say it, just pauses. And even if you have the flattest voice in the world, it will make a difference. Little tricks.
Well-
Little tricks.
And like you were saying, if you're gonna play an old man, maybe they just talk really slow and you hunch yourself. But if you're playing a good little kid, he's gonna be talking really fast. He's really excited and he's gonna jump around, and you don't change anything about your voice. You just change who you are all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Those
really
of us
makes-
that have worked retail know this well.
You put on your
Hi,
yes.
welcome to whatever place. How
customer
may I
voice.
help you?
Yeah.
customer service
Like,
voice.
How dare you use your customer voice on me?
Yes.
So yeah, that's just a little free tip. Hopefully it will be useful to you. But enjoy this chapter. There's a lot of really good stuff in it. It's a lot to organize. So do your best, talk to your players, ask what they want out of the campaign without spoiling them, and have fun.
And yeah, don't be afraid to ask like where you think they're going. Like be upfront, I think, and be like, "Hey, these are kind of the options that you guys have been presented with. What do you like? What do you see
Mhm.
where you're going?"
Yeah.
I think communication is a good thing for a game when it comes to something like that, especially if it's something that might get you frustrated, not knowing. And so
Also,
Ask.
remember, we do this as a performance mostly. Well, part like we're the channel that's performing it. So we don't want to necessarily do 20 sessions in on Corel doing this like different missions but the same format, because that will get boring eventually for the audience. If you're around
Yeah.
a table and your players are like gung-ho for it, don't worry about cutting things off and shaving things down if that's something that you and your players want.
Alexian who?
We exactly, like we just we're want to keep things a nice pace, and we have tons of things to keep in mind regarding schedules and things that are upcoming that we try and give like best bang for your buck on them on the module. But like you're at a table and if you are like just doing a table, if you're doing a stream, you know, I've lost my plot on my
If you're
sentence.
enjoying it, there's no reason for you to stray.
Yeah,
Correct.
exactly.
If you're enjoying it, you're winning. You already did it. You don't have to. The module is a guide. Don't let it ruin
Just
your
like
fun.
rules.
They're
And then
guidelines.
I want to close out on something that Chris said just now, actually, on ways to pitch it to them. Just a reminder that people worry so much about spoilers, but you don't know when you're looking at a menu, you don't know how something tastes until you try it. Ordering it is not tasting it. So giving them some clues and giving them, well, do you want something that's like a little more good or a little more evil? Like, where do you see your characters going? Do you want to be tempted to evil? Do you want to stay good? Do you want it to be a surprise? Like, which do you prefer? You're being a concierge. You're being a you're providing them an experience, and it's okay to give them the menu. They'll experience it there, when the time happens, and it'll be really good. You can't really spoil a lot of experiences, not in this type of game. So don't stress so much. It'll be fine. And if you have any other questions, be sure to tag us on Discord, because we're here to help, hopefully. Anyway,
And the memes are lit.
The memes are lit. So
Memes
folks,
are lit.
that is going to be it for us tonight for this How to Run Chapter 4. We'll do another one of these at the end of Chapter 5, and then a retrospective at the end of the campaign. Before we do that, though, I wanted to quickly thank our Patreon supporters over at patreon.com/dorktales. I wanted to thank my world building producer, Schulten, my divine producer, DM Michael Gray, my demonic producers, Soul Omen and Precarious, and my princess of the Patreon, the Traveler, Trizelta, Cubigummy, Aeolus, Amberthist, Buddy, and Terran. You're all amazing. But before that, I just wanted to say that we're going to be teaming up with Adventure Dice for some fun stuff in the near future for a charity event next weekend, I think. And
I got some earrings from them this weekend.
Nice.
At convention.
Chris, Caitlan, and Blogg, I need to figure out how to get my dice from you. that I
Yes, I'll message
bought.
you.
So somebody wants to shill real quick. So shill.
Chill
Uh,
away.
Well, Adventure Dice are a Canadian, BC, Vancouver-based dice company that love their click clacks as much as we do, and they have some great dice, some great accessories that if you want mugs, t-shirts, stickers. I got Kelly a deck of many things that was actually used on Critical Role. I think campaign 1 Travis used that. So they have some really cool accessories, and they do a dice subscription as well as they have, which Chris has somewhere. I forget. Don't know.
Down somewhere.
Down somewhere here. Their Adventure Dice Advent Calendar. Which is fucking cool. They sell out pretty fast. So that is
They're so cool.
Look at that.
And there's a whole bunch of different levels too. So there's a 31 day, there's a 24 day, there's an 8 day. There's ones that have whole sets in them, ones that just have random ones. So
Five golden dice.
So
Exactly.
the basic one is I think is the 24 day and has 4 full sets of dice in it. And I think they said a couple maybe extra d20s. I don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
The next one up is the 31 day, which has 5 full sets of dice. And then after that, it keeps going up. And apparently there's like a really big one, which is every day is a full set.
Yes. It's like
I was
31
like,
days. Every day is a
I
full set.
can't-
Yeah.
I was
I
like,
think
I
it's
can't
like
quite afford that one at the
$240.
moment.
Yeah,
But hey, you get
still, it was
10%
just
off
like,
of that.
ooh.
Yeah. So yeah, if you want to buy that, they have free shipping in Canada and then tiered shipping to the US and international, I believe. And if you use Dork Tales, you get 10% off, and some of that money goes back to us. And I said, if you like the Advent calendar is really popular for them, as well as their subscription. So you can just get a random set sent to you every month or something like that, or quarterly. I think they also do. So yes, go buy Adventure Dice. I have a couple sets from them that I use and keep at Kelly's house
Yeah,
for
they
Dork
also have
Pod.
real chonky boys.
Yeah, it's chonky
It's
boys.
invisible, but it's chunky.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah, it's green.
dice are great, but you know what? I run a lot of games, and to keep me up, I need coffee. And the only place that I like to buy coffee from, really, is Bones Coffee, which is one of the best small batch brewing coffees, or small batch roasteries, in the entire world, with some of the best flavors, including strawberry cheesecake, chocolate hazelnut, and a limited edition Nightmare Before Christmas set, which includes, what is it? Oatmeal cookie flavored.
Yeah, I'm getting the cranberry brulee.
Yep. the
Cranberry mole. I'm really excited for the
chocolate
mole
mole?
flavor.
I'm interested by the mole. Yeah.
And if you go and use code DorkTales, you'll save 20% and give us some money back on that. We actually just got our first payout that was more than $5 recently. And it came with a bunch of free coffee for the team. So yeah.
And yes, definitely send all of your wish and love to them because they are based in Florida. So along with all of our viewers that are in Florida right now, please be safe. Take care of yourselves and others. Make sure everyone's good. Do what you can to support everybody else.
Yeah.
So and you can also find us on Hero Forged, Norse Foundry, and Only Crits using Dorktales codes. But we'll tell you more about that soon. Folks, I think we're going to call it here. Thank you so much for tuning into this how-to. We'll be back next week with a real episode as we go into the start of the Netherdeep with episode 18, The Drowned City. It is
So
going
we all
to
need
be...
to get goggles.
And scuba gear.
Yep.
That's correct.
But don't worry, the goggles, they do nothing. Shut up, Prolix.
I really want to. I'm going home to my parents this weekend for my dad's birthday, and they have snorkels, and I'm like,
Do it.
Do
Do
I
it.
pick up a snorkel for the bit? Yeah, I do go pick up snorkel for the
very
bit.
funny.
All right. So, folks, we're going to see you next time here. In the meanwhile, we'll be back on Sunday with... Oh, boy. Sunday, you can tune in at 8 a.m. Pacific to see me over at Pugmire on the Onyx Path with Christa.
I'll be there this week.
Which good. Maybe my character will actually do something useful because I could not roll to save my life last week. And then at noon, you'll see Christa and me again in Spelljammer. And then at 8, you will see the vampires for Vampire the Requiem. So
Oh my god, Kelly, you're insane.
So we don't have a production meeting that day.
I think we still do have a meeting at 6 before my game.
Oh my god,
you might as well just go through. Like, don't stop, because if you stop, you'll be done. Just go through the whole
thing. And then Monday.
Yes, Zenata, that is the reaction. That is the reaction.
Can we make a chat command that's pray for Kelly's sanity?
Yes.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't have it. And then folks, don't forget that if you're on the Patreon to the $5 tier or higher, you'll be able to go watch Strixhaven episode 6, Ohm for the Owladays, which is the all girls. It's the Owl Girls Gone Wild game.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's
gonna be a hoot.
I have Girls Gone Feywild. Girls Gone Feywild.
Feywild. Oh my god.
That
now I want that as a
be
t-shirt. I need a t-shirt of that. I need a t-shirt of that.
Girls Gone
Feywild.
Feywild.
I'm get to the list of t-shirts. Hold on.
Oh my god.
All right. So, Girls Gone Feywild and Glorious Mountain Hussy.
I already had that design for you. It's on the t-shirt ideas.
Oh, okay.
If you like it, but
I will take a look. I need to check that Discord channel. But folks, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time. We love you very much. And like, subscribe, smash that bell. We'll see you next time here when the Netherdeep calls. Good night.